Digi modify. Podcast activate.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 70 of LostinTranslationmon. I'm May.
And I'm Jay.
This week we watched Kazu and Kenta's Excellent Adventure.
Or A Small World, Digimon and Babamon at Wind Valley.
And Motorcycle Madness.
Or Impmon Evolves, The Shudder of Beelzemon.
The Dark Lord.
I don't think there's meant to be a B there.
No, that's how you spell his name in the original.
Really?
Yeah, the dub changed it to just Beelzemon.
But how do they pronounce it?
Beelzemon.
Beelzebumon.
Yeah, with the B. Beelzebumon.
Beelzebumon.
Yeah, Beelzebumon, because it's Beelzebub.
I want him to struggle saying his own name. They call me...
The Dark Lord!
No, they call me...
What an edgelord!
Beelzebumon.
Can we just talk about, how much of an edgelord Beelzemon
We will at the
is?
end. We'll get there right at the end.
They call me Beelzemon, he says to nobody.
I have that
He
literally
says
written...
to the sunset.
I have that literally written in my
you?
notes. You read my notes.
I skimmed your notes. I didn't see
It's
that part.
It's right at the end.
Oh, I didn't think that was actual text because it was so small, yeah.
No, wait, no, it's the...
He says, no, it's the... No, you got it. It was there. He said, they call me Beelzemon, he says to no
He
one.
says to no one.
He says
Exactly.
to but, to be fair, he's such an edgelord, oh my gosh.
Oh, this one, there's Beelzemon riding off in the distance, being brooding, saying his own name.
For Digi News this week, we have the Chapter 3 of Try was released, and we released our Try special within 24 hours of the release, so that was pretty good. And also the CSA D3's pre-order opens November. No, it's open until November, sorry. And it ships in March.
What's the CSA?
The complete selection animation. I have the Digivice
What does that mean?
one.
What's the complete selection animation?
It just means that it makes it's like a light and sound toy. You know the Digivice one.
Okay, sure, that's what that means.
Apparently there's maybe it's a brand or it's a series of toys and they have other
complete
ones.
selection animation to me sounds like, oh yeah, big DVD box set of the entire series.
Yeah, it does, but it's not. No, it's I'm pretty sure they do ones for other anime too, and they do them from Kamen Rider, and you can get the belts. I'm pretty sure that's CSA as well. But no, the D3s will make sounds, and Calamon and Patamon will talk. But because they're different colours, and they don't just come in the one colour like the Digivice, there's two of them. So you can either get Hikaris or Takarus.
Oh, sure.
And the Hikari one talks, Calamon talks to you, and then the Takaru one, Patamon talks to you.
And you pre-ordered 4 of each?
I haven't pre-ordered yet because Yasan Nippon hasn't started their pre-orders yet, but I will.
Okay, well that's sad, but sure.
And then that ships in March. And another bit of news is the Digimon plushie set, which is it comes in a little trolley car, or tram, as we call them.
Oh,
and
controversy.
It comes with the 9 partner Digimon, so that's including Meikumon.
For some reason, though they've never been to a trolley in their lives.
And the 10th plush is a plush of Mimi's hat for Palmon.
It should have been Calamon, but that's good too.
Who?
Calamon would have been cute.
But not from Adventure.
I don't care! I want a plush of it!
Yeah, I've almost bought one, but I got outbid and it went to $300.
Oh my god.
Yes.
So what you're saying is...
I want a Calamon plush, but I'll never have one.
You would have bought it if you had caught it in time.
Yeah. And then App 1 Episode 1 is released tomorrow.
App 1?
What I said App 1.
You said App 1.
Okay, I combined my words.
App 1, App 1.
App 1 Episode 1 is released tomorrow, so by the time this episode is out to the public, App 1, App 1 Episode 1's really hard to say together. App 1 Episode 1, or Applimon, Digimon Universe Apply Monsters, is released tomorrow, I believe. But yeah, by the time this episode is out to the public, it'll be already released. Now, we want to try and do weekly episodes for this. Or we'll at least trial it to see how much work it is. But it'll just be quick thought episodes, so they'll probably be only 20 minutes each in length.
There is a long, just low booing in the background. Just imagine it, just boo.
Yeah. Yep.
Like the ghost of Applimon Past.
Yeah. And but we're not sure how we'll get access to it. There's no word from Crunchyroll yet, which is worrying. Because when we about Digimon Try, they said a few days before, and for the first episode they said the day before. But
people actually wanted that show.
But I feel because this has a younger audience, maybe Crunchyroll won't be doing it. We may have to rely on keen fan subbers, so we may not get it for a week after. But we'll try to do it as soon as we get access to it. Obviously, my Japanese isn't good enough to actually watch and comprehend 100% of it, or even Like, I think I'd probably be, at this point, I'd only understand like 30% of what's going on, which isn't enough to do a podcast on it. And yeah, Jay doesn't know any Japanese, so we can't just like find the rules. We have to wait until wonderful, diligent fan subbers manage to do it, and I'd really prefer to do it as legally as possible.
I can visually assess what's happening in the show, and I'm like, that guy wants to eat some food, probably. All right, cool. And that one,
They're going through a desert now?
They're definitely going through a desert.
And I've seen a screenshot because there have been advanced showings of it, and the kids in the audience did appreciate it. They really enjoyed it, so that's good.
Well, kids like anything that's got pretty colours on it.
Yeah. And the screenshot I saw literally says, "Are you a protagonist?" Or it could be like, "Are you a hero?" Like the main hero, but the kanji is read as protagonist, so it's just like
it's certainly hero.
On a board, it says no. It actually says protagonist. It's
No, I mean, but like when you look at the sub, it's gonna say hero.
No, it's on the tech. Like it's on a cardboard.
I know that.
Yeah.
When they write the translation for the English readers, it will say hero.
Yeah, but
I wasn't being unclear.
But literally, it says protagonist. Yeah, and so yeah, that's a thing. And yes, so I would really hope we can cover that as soon as we can. On to Lost in News Lately, Mon. Episode 2 of the podcast will be up on YouTube. If all is according to plan, Keikaku.
All according to Keikaku.
This episode, when it's public, the episode 2 of the podcast will already be on YouTube. And like, if you're listening to this, chances are you probably already listened to episode 2 before. But if you're like just listening to this for the first time, we are uploading the backlog onto YouTube now. And even though it's already on SoundCloud and iTunes and everything, it's now going to be on YouTube.
Also, all things considered, we were really funny once upon a time.
No, I listened to it when it's like not quality at all. I feel like we didn't get quality until like at least episode 20.
No, we were really, really fun.
Like the quality of like the audio is just worse because we were recording over Skype.
We always did that, yeah.
And also, I didn't have my microphone yet.
Yeah, so you were like recording with your headphone mic,
which wasn't terrible. It didn't sound bad.
You just said it wasn't good.
No, but it compared.
Okay.
Like it was fine at the time, but once you compare it to actually having a microphone that cost me about $100, then
big spender on this microphone.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of considering maybe getting a better one, just for like. I mean, we've been doing the podcast like for a while now. I'm just
the big silver one that isn't directional.
No, the Blue Yeti was the one I was thinking of.
That is what I'm talking
about.
Yeah,
but it was the same sort of price for memory, and I actually decided this one. I know, but I feel like, I really like this mic, but
you need one of the ones that's like on the movable thing with the pop filter on it.
Yeah, like no, that's like end goals, but I'm pretty sure like one of our Patreon milestones, which we'll probably never get to,
was equipment
like,
improvement.
Upgrade equipment, and I don't think we'll ever get to that one. I'd like to.
We'll run out of Digimon before that happens.
Yeah. But reasonably, like, we are getting a lot, and we appreciate every one of our Patreon subscribers. Thank you so much. We love you.
Or was it, we're going to become LostinTranslationmon?
No, that was, like, what we're doing after Digimon, yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, at that point, maybe that'll be a different fan base to move into.
Yeah. Well, like, there are different things we could do after Digimon.
It's okay, it's like 7 years from now.
No. We're starting season 4 in January.
Yeah.
There are only 6 seasons. 7 seasons, I guess.
Doesn't one of those have 3 seasons, though?
Yes, but it's shorter. The 3 seasons are 25 episodes each.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so it'll be 3 years.
No, I think... Well, we've been doing this 1.5 years, and we've already done 3 seasons.
We do a season every 9 months. Wait, what?
We've been doing it 1.5 years. No, less than 1.5 years. We started in, like, May.
Okay, well.
Yeah, we're halfway through 3 seasons.
This is what we get for having, like, a regular schedule. Maybe we should take the obviously popular route of going on long hiatuses all the time.
No, but, like, I don't want to. Anyway, on to Obnoxious Synopsis. The first episode that we're watching this week is called Kazu and Kenta's Excellent Adventure, or Little World, Digimon and Barbamon in the Strong Wind Valley. What do you think will happen in this episode?
Okay, so obviously Kenta and Kazu ran off by themselves, away from the death beam, or the transportation beam, or whatever it was.
The data stream, yeah.
The data stream. And they separated from the group. So they're going to run around.
And Ruki followed them, remember?
Yeah, and they're going to go to weird places, and Ruki's kind of, Ruki could catch up to them immediately, but I don't really think her style is wanting to hang out with them. I think that she's gonna, like, stay at a distance and be like, they can probably take care of themselves. We'll just make sure they don't die. And then they go around, like, going like, oh, the digital world's so weird and crazy, and we kind of get our, like, season 1 sort of thing from them. Then they're going to end up in like a little... They're going to find like a hut or something. And then I saw the picture on our Tumblr of Babamon.
Oh, using her Babamon's milk?
Using her Babamon's milk, which is very concerning. And then it's going to turn out, after they seemed very nice, that they were evil, and then Renamon will save them, and they will not have their Digimon partners yet. Although, I think it would be really funny if they ended up with Babamon and Digimon, because they're crap. But
they are fully evolved Digimon, Jay.
They're crap.
They're ultimate level.
It's a grandma and a grandpa.
Yeah, but they're fully evolved.
That's like saying, oh yeah, my favourite pet would be a 150-year-old tortoise.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that they're stronger. They're the strongest Digimon that we've seen so far, I believe, in Tamers.
That's crap, though.
Yeah, but no, they're great. Do you think anything will annoy you in this episode?
I think that the English voices for Digimon or Babamon are going to kill me. And also, Kazu's probably going to change a lot and become a terrible person.
See, I've watched them this week already, but I haven't watched the English versions yet, so I can't remember what the Digimon and Babamon sound like. Digibaramon sound like in English, but I just don't have much faith for usually like the stereotypes and stuff. And do you think it'll be a good episode? I
do, but mostly because you told me it was.
No, what I said was it's better than I remember, because I was like not looking forward to watching this episode, and I was like, oh no, it's not terrible.
Mate, do you know how good it has to be better than you remember? Because if you think it's going to be bad, the show has to impress you before you think it's good again. Otherwise, if it's mediocre or bad, you go, oh, that was bad.
Oh, good point.
Unless you were thinking something really racist happens, and then that doesn't. You're like, no, okay, I'm now neutral.
I just, for my memory said it was more boring than it was.
Okay, so it must be entertaining. I rate it 7.
Okay.
7.2.
7.2, geez, okay. The second episode that we're watching this week is called Motorcycle Madness, or Impmon Evolves, The Shudder of Beelzemon, the Dark Lord.
So that's really, really stupid.
What do you think will happen this episode?
Well, the problem is that I know that Beelzemon rides a motorbike, and so all I could literally tell you...
How do you know that? Oh, Digimon World 2003. Okay, I showed you. Yeah. It's a really good opening, I had to show you.
So I've known about Beelzemon forever, so none of that tension existed for me. So I know that Impmon evolves, and honestly, there's nothing else. I'm gonna say he's called the Dark Lord, but I don't feel like he's a bad guy. He just doesn't seem like one. I don't know. I don't really believe it, and I don't think he's like the god or whatever. So I don't know. I think that might be ironic, and he's probably designed to be like, oh, I'm so cool. Yeah, I'm evolved now. But he's just kind of a punk. I called him a punk.
And what do you think the evolution will be? Do you think it'll be like
what
heartfelt? Do you think it'll be like boring? Do you think it'll be like kind of out of nowhere? What do you think makes him evolve as well?
It'll be one of the few times that Digimon's ever like evolved that wasn't one of the kids. I mean, Leomon did it in Adventure, but it was related to the kids still. They gave him the energy for it, I think.
Yeah, that was why.
Have we ever seen a Digimon? Some bad guys do it. I think it'll be like in a time of stress. He'll kind of have his go again. Like, hey, I can. No, wait, hold on, no. He's probably challenged by something, and then he'll be like really depressed. He's like, I don't know, whatever, just, and then he has a moment. I can take you, and then he feels like he goes to evolve. I don't know, man. It'd be really funny if he saw a motorbike and he's like, and there was like a montage of him fixing it, and finally he just sat on it and it was like, yeah, and then it's evolved for no reason.
Do you think it'll be because of a Digivice that he evolves?
No.
Okay. Do you think anything will annoy you in this episode?
I think it will annoy me if it's because of a Digivice that he evolves.
Do you think it'll be a good episode?
Honestly, they've been building up Impmon and his evolution thing for so long, it better be a good episode. So yes.
So do you think the evolution will be the main part of the episode?
Yes. I mean, it will sort of revolve around getting there, and then that will... no, I think that the evolution will happen right at the end. And then it'll be like, who's this mysterious challenger? So Davis will be like, oh my god, what's that happening over there? I don't know, on the next episode of Digimans.
Oh boy, Impmon got it. Sure did look like he got an upgrade. You'll find out what happens the next Digimon, Digital Monsters.
Look at this sexy Bishi with his... Look at this sexy Batamon with his shotgun.
What rating do you think you'll give the episode?
I rate 8 out of 8.
8 out of 8?
8 out of 10.
So, okay. I was about to say, isn't that like just the same as 10 out of 10?
No, it's not. It's way worse. It's a crap scale.
One hole is still a hole.
Yep, that's true. That's why donuts are bad.
You love donuts.
Well, no, like ring donuts. People like ring donuts, but you are officially just paying for less donut. That's wrong. Fill the holes.
That's what she said. Anyway, onto the show.
Off we go.
That's also what she said. Episode 26, which is... Hang on, I lost my trailmon of thought. Episode 26, Kazu and Kenta's Excellent Adventure, or Little World, Digimon and Barbamon in the Strong Wind Valley, starts with, as the last episode finished, Ruki, Renamon, Kazu and Kenta falling into a hole after being dropped off by the data stream.
Which just hits them, like, immediately.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty, like... I don't know, I feel like it's very convenient how it happens so quickly and so easily.
Well, there's this really weird moment, because they start off running away from the stream in the last episode.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, cool, so there'll be something here. You cut to this episode, instantly hit by it. That was a waste of time.
And in the original, they're just screaming because they're falling to their deaths, basically. And in the dub, of course, they're talking. And I'm just like... who has time to, like, think of, like, witty remarks to come up with and jokes while you're probably going to die?
My favourite version of that is when they hit the ground and there's the wind. Sorry, let me rephrase that. The wind? And there's something like, one someone's like, that hurts. And someone's like, why don't you some people are trying to pass out over here.
Yeah.
Because in, the Japanese, they were just showing you the wind and be like, setting the scene.
Yeah.
But they can't let you have silence, so they just wit at each other about how they're about to pass out and want to. And it's weird because when Renamon goes to wake Ruki up, Ruki's like, 5 more minutes.
Yeah. But the thing about the putting in the remarks about passing out is that I feel like it wasn't exactly silence in the original. It was just this dramatic music and the sound of wind.
That's what silence is.
They're very much setting up the atmosphere, which I felt was very dramatic. And I feel like the dub kind of ruined it, really.
Oh, for sure. Like, it's stupid. I'm trying to pass out, I say, after hitting the ground. So I'm not in pain, obviously. Also, they begin snoring. Just the mental gymnastics that takes to understand what is actually happening there in the English version is ballistic.
And Renamon and Ruki are noticing that there are holes and scratches in the cliff face, and the houses don't have doors, and then Renamon notices the trees. In the dub, this part's like, it does happen, but it's slightly shortened, because the start of it, instead of Renamon looking at the holes and the scratches in the cliff face...
The world has changed since I left. Look at how barren it's become.
Yeah, this is kind of how I pictured the inside of Kazu's head. Wait.
Which one? It's a sassy remark about her comrade.
And how much she hates him.
And also, it's just like, Renamon's commenting that something's wrong with the digital world, and how different and barren it is, and we wonder why. But in the original, this is not said. It's just like, the only reason that the digital world is like this is because that's the part that they're in.
Yeah, I got the sense that they made that up completely for the English one. Like, oh no, something's going wrong. Except that, like, if you take this episode into account, this is the way that these Digimon live, which means that this isn't a tragedy. This is just normal.
Yeah, this is normal. This is just how this is what they used to. This is why they're set up like that. Gigi and Barbamon are happy. They've been married for 40 years, so presumably in this village for, like, longer than 40 years.
But time moves differently in the digital world. Sometimes.
Sometime. So Kazu and Kenta are asleep, and Ruki is upset with them and says that this is why she didn't want them to come to the digital world, which is completely reasonable, really.
Yeah, then she kicks Kazu in the butt.
Yeah.
In his Valley of the Wind.
But what I really like is that Renamon goes to stop her from talking, and Ruki says she wants to complain for a bit, and I really like that. She's like, no, just let me complain about them while they're unconscious. No, I really like that. And then she kicks Kazu, and then he falls on Kenta and kisses him. But that part's cut. It's cut in the dub.
I barely noticed that.
No, she lands. Kazu lands on Kenta, and they're kissing. And then, like, they have this moment where, like, they're like,
no homo.
Yeah, basically. And because it's anime physics, and that just happens, apparently, when two boys are near each other.
Yeah. Their lips are magnetic.
And in the dub, since this is cut, they just appear to wake up and Ruki's yelling at them. So that whole thing's cut. And it's like,
I don't remember what Kazu was saying. I think it was something along the lines of, even though you're cute, you can't just boss us around.
Yeah, she says... And yeah, Ruki says they want... come on, we're taking you back to Shinjuku. And Kazu says that Ruki is kind of cute after he tells her that she shouldn't just be acting like his teacher. In the dub, Kazu says that she's so pretty he wouldn't mind having her as a teacher, which is somewhat worse than in the original. In the original, he seems to just notice that she's cute instead of, like, connecting the two thoughts.
Yeah, it's a little bit... It is a bit weird.
Yeah.
It's more of a realization in the first one.
Yeah, it's more like, hey, no, wait, you're kind of cute.
But it's still really out of place. Oh yeah, we just got kicked into a valley and are going to die. You're kind of cute though. But it's in both, so whatever.
Yeah, but it just seems worse in the dub.
It's always worse than the dub.
Kenta then says that Kazu should be tougher, and then Kazu makes a face and says that he should not be saying that because he had the highest cholesterol in the last test at school.
Which is a little bit... What was the other one he said in English?
Oh, in the dub, Kenta couldn't do a single pull-up in gym class, which is...
That's way more embarrassing.
Yeah, but that's because it's, like, the localization, like... Because people have, like, health tests in school.
Yeah, they don't cholesterol test you in Western schools as far as I'm aware.
But they do physical test you. So that's fine to localize. Like, sometimes when they do localizations, they're just localizations instead of just, there's silence!
Well, it's weird, though, because, like, the cholesterol one, I mean, that's a cultural thing, obviously, because I don't understand why that's... It's not great, but it's not horrendously embarrassing.
For a child, it's pretty worrying.
I mean, I guess. He's not fat, though.
I know, but like, he might just have a high metabolism. If he's still unhealthy, he's unhealthy.
I guess that sucks, but it's not embarrassing still. I don't know, I don't think so.
While they're fighting, Ruki says she doesn't know how to deal with them and is quite stroppy with them. Renamon then says that she should be nicer to them because they're still her comrades. And in the dub, Renamon says that they're still Rika's friends even if they're a pain, and Rika says, oh yeah, they are. Which is just...
She does admit it.
There's comrade, which is, nakama, which is very commonly used in Digimon, I've noticed. As to be like your teammates, your comrades.
Okay, so that's comrade in the, like, communist term. They say, oh yes, comrade. Not comrade, like, we're friends, we're buddies. It's yes, comrade.
Yeah. But in the dub, it's all like, no, they're friends, and Rika admits them to being their friends, which, like, I don't think she's particularly keen on them.
No, she isn't, because she hates them.
She has nothing in common with them. I don't think she enjoys their company.
Not
she
at all.
likes Juri, and we've seen that.
Juri's great.
She volunteers. She's like, oh, don't worry, I'll teach you how to play Digimon cards when
because the people she hates are taunting her.
Yeah, and when Juri can't see when the lights are really bright because everyone else has sunnies, apparently, she takes Juri's hand and she's lovely to her. But Kazu and Kenta, like, she doesn't really like that much.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
Even though Kazu is better in the original, he still sucks.
But I feel like maybe another reason she might not like them is she may see them as competition for Digimon cards.
Not a chance.
Like, maybe they've played against each other at a...
No, she's the Digimon queen. She's totally confident. There's not a chance that she considers them competition. She thinks they're idiots.
Maybe we meet someone in the future who's her rival and competition in the cards.
That would be awesome. It's not going to happen, though.
You actually already know the character.
What?
You'll find out.
What?
Okay, so I'm really looking forward to seeing your reaction of the next episode. You didn't see the next on, will you? Like at the end of the second episode, you didn't see the next time on?
Have I met this character in the show yet?
Kind of.
What do you mean kind of? Have they shown up?
You've seen him.
Okay, so it's a him.
In the background. We'll get to it.
Wait, have I only seen him in the background ever? Does it start with an R? And then a Y? And then an O?
I don't know.
You're giving me a smile.
You'll find out.
Does he show up not in the background?
You'll find out.
What?
You'll find out. I've already said too
Well, this is unfair.
Anyway.
He has a Pokemon. No, wait. He has, the Chimeramon? I don't know what
Chimeramon and Mugendramon, Millenniumon. What?
That's so stupid.
No, they joined to become, Millenniumon, and then Millenniumon, joined with his partner.
Is he gonna be a main character?
I'm not gonna say anything.
Oh my god!
Okay. That was enjoyable. Anyway, then the strong wind starts up and random objects from nowhere, but I don't care because it's digital world randomness.
Yeah,
and
that's okay.
I really like Digimon. If this happened in the real world, I just said this is plot convenience. But because it's in the digital world, I'm just like, I applaud them. Like, well done. Quite.
You know what is a problem with this, though?
What?
When the, table hits the rock they're hiding behind, and they both explode, which implies that a rock is not as tough as a table.
I don't care. Digital world randomness. I don't care. I love digital world randomness.
But the thing is, they're not punching holes in stuff, mostly. They're just dissolving stuff. So which doesn't make, the whole thing, not even putting cracks. So the other damage...
Stronger rocks.
Doesn't make any sense. Okay, sure.
More powerful rocks. And anyway, and then Ruki and Renamon realize that this is why all the rocks have holes and the houses have no windows and doors. And then they say, oh, the cloth must be a warning. Then the wind blows them into the house, which is really convenient because they could have just been thrown against a rock and
they were
murdered.
I mean, it was almost like a rock, but it was a door that turned.
Yeah.
Also, you notice that all the doors were all on the exact same side?
Yeah, so maybe it's a better side.
But that was on the side that the wind was going
right.
towards.
Well, okay, that's plot convenience.
That's absolutely plot convenience.
Yeah.
Because you'd think that there would be doors on all different sides so that if you were inside... Because presumably it's all one compound underneath.
Yeah.
That means you could get out on any of the doors that didn't have the wind going against them, probably.
Yeah.
But this is they're all on one side. Sometimes the doors just don't work. So they end up in one of the homes.
And I just want to stop you here for a second. I love how polite Renamon is.
Oh, she's great.
I love how they've given her a character.
She's very traditional.
And that was our complaint about one of our number one complaints about 02 was that the Digimon didn't really have characters besides their partners.
They had the tiniest character traits.
They had like a skeleton character
and slightly polite bird.
Yeah.
And slightly excitable Vmon.
Yeah.
But then they never did anything else.
They never extrapolated on like these basic one-word characteristics.
Yeah. Gilmon is kind of like a toned up version. He's very much the main character's Digimon.
But
Vmon,
he's such a dog.
Agumon, but he's
a baby.
He's got a little bit more going on because
he's a baby,
and he's got more excuses as a result.
Yeah.
But Terriermon is a psychopath.
Yeah, basically.
Who has to be held back by
like
his
let's
partner.
speed up the bike. Yeah, let's
He's
speed
so
up the
excited,
bike.
and he's like, and they're like, no, you can't do it. But I want to fight. No, he's like,
and he is in pain, holding himself back. I love him so much. And Renamon's so polite, and she like as soon as she enters, she bows because of course she's very polite, and I love her
because she's the adult. She teaches Rookie stuff.
Yeah,
which I think is great. It's really, really good.
Yeah, and I really love her, and she just as soon as she bows, she enters, and I really like the characterization that they put into the Digimon, and they should.
Renamon would be your favorite, you huge furry.
Though this time I've always liked Renamon, but this time I actually kind of like Gilmon because he's such a dog. Like, oh my gosh, he's so cute.
You're gonna protect You're just a kid. I'm just a kid.
I know. He's just a baby. I'm a baby. Anyway, so we see Digimon and Babamon.
Speaking of which, Babamon is just Wizardmon's mom.
Basically, yeah.
It's exact.
It's
if you put them next to each other, that's like the rowdy teenager.
Yes, because it's the go-to sort of slightly creepy, stuffed together kind of humanoid thing. It was like a scarecrowy sort of thing.
A little bit.
Like their mouths are kind of sewn and kind of terrifying if you saw them in real life.
Yeah, in real life it's really gross, but also they don't have any teeth.
And actually, fun fact, Digimon is actually a really, from my understanding, is a pretty early design to Digimon. Because he was in the Digimon World PS1 game.
So you actually have a document up at the moment on Google Docs of every Digimon? There are over 1,000? I did not know that.
Yeah.
Why are there so many?
Because cards.
Also, there's
It's a card game?
There's Schwart... No, there was something Mon Schwart B or something. They all have eventually you start getting ones with really weird suffixes.
Yeah. It's different types of them, but you'll get to them probably.
God, there's so many Digimon. It's so dumb.
I like Shoutmon Cross 5 because it has Sparrowmon.
Cross 5.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, Cross Wars is just is it Ultron where Voltron where they all go together?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Voltron.
What?
It's just Voltroning of the Digimon. It's like DNA Digivolving, but it's not. It's Voltroning.
So they attach rather than fuse.
Yep.
That's dumb.
So, he merges with the other ones, and Shoutmon and Sparrowmon is Shoutmon riding a Sparrowmon.
This is stupid.
Yeah.
This whole show is stupid. I'm leaving.
It's Voltron. No, I think Cross Wars is pretty it's aimed at a younger audience than the other seasons of Digimon, but I really think it's pretty underrated as a show.
If Pokemon Sun and Moon, the Alola form wasn't a change of type, it was I'm trying to think of an example. It's the Mankey is riding the Lapras. That's one Pokemon now.
Anyway, so Ruki's Diarc Analyzer says that Digimon and Babamon are ultimate level Digimon and are married.
Well, yeah.
Yeah?
How does the Diarc know they're married? Are all Digimon and Babamon married?
Yeah.
Can they tell the difference between each other? Are all Digimon married to all Babamon?
Well, there's a Digimon in Digimon World, and he's not married. But I'm not sure if Babamon was designed at the time.
Is he not married, or is there not one around?
There's not a Babamon around, because I'm not sure if she was even designed at the time.
Okay, so he's married, but she's not around. But is every individual Digimon married to all Babamon, and all Babamon married to all Digimon? Or do they pair up for life at random?
They pair up for life at random, I think.
Okay.
They meet each other, and then they become Digimon and Babamon, maybe? I don't know.
Is there a ceremony? Do they invite their friends?
I don't know.
Do you have, a priest of the Digimon god to, do, the marriage ceremony?
Priestmon.
Do they have rings?
But no, did you look?
No?
I didn't look.
Pretty sure they didn't, though.
In the dub, they say that they've been married for 40 years. And also, it just meant they sound vaguely Jewish, Jewish stereotypes.
In the English, they were, especially Digimon was Jewish.
Yeah.
Also, I liked, so they have this thing where they fight. One of them has a broom, one of them has, a cat paw on a stick.
Yeah.
And they fight. And it's why you fight? And they're did we walk into a family feud? It's no, we just fight when it's windy, because there's nothing else to do. Which I thought was cute. And what I thought was even funnier was that in English, so that the kids would definitely
that you know
not
that they're not
confused,
like abusive.
was that every time they got close to do like a clash of swords, Gigi was like, "I love you so much.
I love you." Yeah, and I feel like it's just saying, look, no, they're fine. They love each other. Just to say, look, if you have family fighting, this is different. This is like they're fighting because they're bored.
Yeah, no. I understand you have abusive parents, but no, it's not that. It's not like that.
Which I mean, I can kind of understand, but I don't know. Like, it's cute. I love how they're saying, "Oh no, we don't hate each other," but they're like fully into it.
Yeah, I like that they're just weird old people. Like they explain that, and they're like, "Well, now we don't need to fight each other. We can fight you." And the guy's like, What? No, let's not. And they're like, actually, better idea. Let's go get food.
That's only in the dub, though. In the original, they don't actually say what they're meaning to do. They just kind of say, well, now we have guests, and they sort of walk towards them.
Yeah, it's implied.
Yeah, but no, you're meant to think that they're talking about they're fighting the kids, and the kids are meant to think that they're talking about fighting the kids, but actually they're just saying, we will cook you dinner.
This whole episode, and I mean, I'll get more on this at the end, but it's kind of like a parody of the formula of Digimon.
Yeah.
I think it's really funny.
No, I really like it. Like, I know we'll get to it at the end though. Why we like this, like why I like this episode. I'm not sure how much you like it.
So they start cooking food. They run a bath. Food must be really weird for Babamon, right? She has to eat past all the stitches.
Yeah, she has like a straw maybe on. She has wine,
and they have
which they had to say that was grape juice in the dub.
Solid.
They say, and now we have a glass of grape juice. I'm like, no, dude, that's red wine.
So they have Kazuo and Kenta in the bath. And they're singing, and in Japanese, they're really good. They're like really synchronized, and they're singing this song like that syncs with the music that's in the background.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, they're gonna butcher this in English. And then in the English, they sing some country song badly, and Renamon says that it's killing her.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure in the original, like, I mean, this is during dinner, but I just want to mention this part. Renamon says they don't seem to be evil Digimon, which is like almost mirroring in Adventure how they were saying, oh no, they're not evil Digimon, and then they'd kill them or like try to kill them.
Which ones?
In Adventure.
Oh, just all the time.
Yeah, the
they're
first
always
season,
get
like the first part of Adventure with all the black, he's like, that's weird. He's not usually a bad Digimon.
Oh,
I'm using my Calamon voice for some reason. But he's usually a lovely Digimon.
When they hang out, Calamon just shows up outside on the cliffs. It's like, where is everybody? And is about to go down there because that would have been hilarious and narratively convenient until it just gets immediately hit by a transfer beam.
But then he's transported into the wind town because at the end of the episode he's floating in the wind past the houses.
He probably just gets transferred to the other side of the valley.
Yeah, I know.
But he's looking down at it.
Anyway, the song that Kazuo and Kenta are singing in the original is called Manly Fighting Spit, and it's like they have like a duo character song, but they also have their individual character songs as well.
Oh, they're singing a character song?
Yeah, it's their song.
Oh, okay.
Because they have them individually, but they also have them one together. It's called Manly Fighting Spit.
That's stupid.
Because they're tough men, and it's like...
I hate them.
It defines the characters like, yes, we're tough men, this is what men do.
I hate them so much.
And yeah, so in the dub, they're just singing a somewhat character song. No, it's not it's like somewhat country song, and it's about being in a bath.
It's like, we're in a bath!
And in the dub, Babamon says it's nice not to have guests who want to fight all the time. And in the original, she doesn't say this because she actually likes fighting. Like,
they do enjoy it.
Yeah. And I just noticed that the bed that Ruki's on looks really comfy.
Also, I think it's really funny in English when there's this... It's like, I don't think it's a joke that was intended, but it was really funny to me, where you hear Ruki go, man, it's really great to be on the bed, it's so comfortable. And then the camera rolls by Renamon, who's on the floor, who's like, who like seems unhappy, like a dog who got kicked off the bed.
No, but I think she's comfortable there.
There probably is, but like that presentation made her seem upset about it. And like Ruki was making fun of her. To me, anyway. Like, obviously that wasn't...
No, I didn't get that.
That wasn't the core element of that scene, but to me it was really funny.
Renamon says that when the wind stops, they're going to look for Calamon, and Ruki agrees. In the dub, Rika says, oh, look, I'm sure he's fine.
Now, that's the weirdest thing.
Like, her priority is like, yes, we will look for him after the wind clears up. That's the only reason we're here. And we'll leave first in the morning if the wind's clear. And in the dub, she's just like, oh, it's fine.
They're here looking for him.
Yeah.
And the reason I think they said this line in English is because in the English they forgot the kids do not know that Calamon escaped Monkeymon.
Oh, yeah.
The kids don't know that. The kids still think that he's trapped. So in English, I think they forgot, and they think he's free. Oh, he'll be fine.
Yeah, of course he's not fine. If they think that he's with the monkey, he's not fine, probably.
Yeah.
They don't know what the monkey's doing to him.
No.
In their minds, the monkey could be trying to kill him.
Exactly. But I'm really certain the English writers totally forgot that was happening.
Yeah.
Because they're like, well, there he is. He's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll be okay.
No, that's the point. I didn't think of that. I was like, wow, they've suddenly really relaxed about Calamon, I guess. And then in Kazu and Kenta's room, Kazu and Kenta are talking about how Digimon and Barbamon are good Digimon. And even though they're old, Kazu asks Kenta if they should have them as partners. In the dub, because Kenta rolls over, Kazu comments on how Kenta falls asleep straight away. Which is like, I do like it when they point out like plot convenient things.
Yeah. He's like, no, I'm totally awake. I'm not gonna...
Yeah, and they do in the next episode as well, but I'll comment on that when we're up to that part.
And so yeah, Kazu has a nightmare that he's asking the grandparent Mon to like be their partners, and they turn on them and they go all evil. And he's like, oh no! And he wakes up and he tells Kenta about it, and they go, oh, we have to go make sure they're not betraying us or anything. And they open the door and they see the grandparents Mon like just being really happy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we love our guests. We're so happy to have them.
But in the dub, they're like Digimon and Barbamon are talking in the dream, and they're talking about how they're going to hurt them and how violent they are and how they're evil Digimon, and they have like candles on their heads. And then Kazu and Kenta also talk about it when they think about how like they hear a noise of like the fire being poked, and they said, oh, that's probably them. And in the dub they're saying, yes, they're probably going to hunt us down with candles on their heads, because they're showing the graphic of them running down with candles on their heads.
I had this weird suspicion at this point, and I know that the episode's kind of meant to make you think that because it's playing on that feeling. But when they were being really nice, I'm like, oh, this is so that when they do betray them, it's going to be like even worse.
Yes, it's going to be a surprise, like
but
an ambush.
It's so lazy because there's no way they could have known they were being watched.
Yeah.
So them saying nice stuff, I thought was the writers being bad. But then at the end, it's like, oh, no, they were just nice.
Well, remember in Adventure when they go to the mansion and they let their guards down and they have like nice food. Well, it's not real, but they have nice food and they go to the bed, and it's sort of like that, but real.
Yeah.
Like they actually are looking after them, and they could attack them in the sleep if they were evil, and that's what Kazu and Kenta were worried about.
Well, the mansion's different because there was no one else there. They just walked into a mansion and hoped.
Yeah, which is kind of silly.
It's like when they went to the village with the baby evil
the Pokemon,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, and like they were hanging out with them and everything, but if at the end of it they were like, bye, and like nothing happened.
Yeah. And I really like how Barbamon is knitting in front of the fire and doesn't want Digimon to make so much noise to wake their guests.
Oh, that's cute.
It's so cute.
Let's pray to thank, God for our guests.
Yeah, and Digimon mentions, look, I never knew we could have this much fun without fighting. And Barbamon says she's thankful for the guests. And then they clap and they thank them and they pray. And on the other side of the door, Kazu and Kenta are thinking about how they didn't trust them and how Digimon and Barbamon are so trusting of them and have such pure hearts, and they didn't trust them and they should have, and they feel bad.
Well, let's be honest, Digimon and Barbamon don't really care, don't need to trust them, because they're both ultimate level Digimon, and no one who is in their house currently poses any threat to them whatsoever.
Yeah, and they don't know Renamon can evolve.
And even if she
can only become perfect.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And in the dub, it's not as deep as this. They just say, oh, well, would be stuck out in the wind if it weren't for them. Which is like, it's a good thing to thank them about, but it's not as deep as they're so trusting of us and then we couldn't trust them at all.
Yeah. So they're going to leave in the morning.
Yep.
And Ruki and Renamon are like, all right, guys, let's go. And Kenta and Kazu are saying, well, we're going to stay here. We have to ask them something.
Yeah, like what? Like a question?
Yeah, and Ruki's like, well, I'll just go then. Because I don't care.
Yeah, because she wants to come up with a plan for getting back to Takato and the others, and then
I totally
finding Calamon.
forgot to mention it because it happened right at the beginning, but it's relevant now because Ruki has to plan how to get up to the top of the cliff. Yeah. Is that they call it the real world sphere?
Yeah.
In the Japanese,
Really, that's what it is.
Look, that's the real world sphere, not Earth.
It might be a. No, I only know this because I've been looking at Japanese recently, but there is a kanji for sphere and earth and globe, and maybe it's a mistranslation.
Maybe.
Because I know that's the same kanji. I mean, so it probably has the same saying, maybe. Though, as I've mentioned many times before, my Japanese is pretty limited, so that's possibly why it says sphere, but they mean globe. So it's a real world globe.
At this point, I think there is a slight difference, if I'm remembering it correctly, in that in Japanese, Ruki's looking to the top of the cliff and goes, how do we get out of this valley? Well, we can fly out of here. And that's sort of how they get the idea to rig up a kite. In the English, instead, they're looking up that way, but they go, how do we get back to Earth? Well, we could fly up there. So the difference is that, okay, one is practically, let's get out of this valley, and one is, let's go home!
Yeah, and it's It's like before, she completely forgets the priorities of looking for Calamon and looking for Takato and the others so they can meet up.
No, let's just skip town. It's totally fine.
And I feel like that's the emphasis, because the only time she's mentioned going home is sending Kazu and Kenta home, because she doesn't see why they need to be there.
They don't need to be there. They're a huge liability.
Besides plot, I don't think they should be there.
They're a massive liability. The fact that she's in this place at all
is because of them. Because they're stupid and they ran off in a different path, and you should stick together. Renamon and Ruki have to rescue them. And if they were alone, like, the reason that she ran after them is because they don't have Digimon. If they ran into a rogue Digimon or a Deva or something, they'd die.
It's so convenient that the Digimon they ran into are like the only legitimately nice Digimon around.
Miramon was kind of...
No, he was evil.
Oh, no, he wasn't evil, but the way is fighting other Digimon.
But also, he just attacked at random first.
Yeah.
And Kazu and Kenta couldn't have dealt with that.
No, they couldn't on their own. And I feel like the Digimon and Babamon are, like, too old to consider fighting, like, besides themselves.
Yeah.
They wouldn't, like, go out and load data because they're already ultimate level Digimon. They don't need to evolve, and that's why Digimon in this world are fighting, is because they want to load data and become stronger and evolve. But they don't need to if they've probably killed a lot of Digimon to get to that level.
To be married for 40 years, you got to kill a lot of Digimon.
And you don't know what else is in the village. It could just be a village of Digimon and Babamon. It's like a retirement village. That's cute.
No, I don't think that's a village. I think they're all the tops. Because there's an underground complex. I think it's one big thing. And they're all just different exits.
Aw. No, I like the idea that there's like a retirement village of all the old Digimon.
I guess.
No, that's cute. I like that. Go away.
They all turn into Grandmamon.
And then, so Kazu and Kenta are practicing card slashing with Digimon and Babamon because they want to be their partners.
They say, I want to be your tamer. And they're like, what does that mean? And then they try to demonstrate it. And in doing so, they show them what card slashing is.
Yeah.
And they do their little silly one. And then the Digimon start going, oh, card slash. And they do their own ones. And they try to explain evolution. At which point, Kenta imagines,
Kazu's first. Kazu becomes Black War Hirokazumon.
They're imagining it about these Digimon, what they might evolve into first. And Kenta's, thinks of an image of, War Babamon, where she's in armor and stuff.
No, that was what he imagined himself was, because this is after the part, and Digimon and Babamon are card slashing, and Kazu says, I think I would become Black War Hirokazumon. And there's this really funny moment, is because he pauses to show, the bubble of what the Digimon he wants to turn into would look like. Digimon comments in the dub about, how he paused, and he says, are you going to just tell us or just stand there? And I really like it when they comment on,
he was
animation
imagining
choices.
her there.
No, this is them imagine themselves. And then Kenta imagines another one, which is kind of like someone with armor and robes, and he wants to become Megalo Kentamon, which, of course, because there's no Megalo Growlmon, he becomes Mega Mighty Kentamon. Yeah.
I think this bit's really funny, because they just start fighting for a bit, nothing really changes, but basically the grandparents Mon have become the tamers, and the kids have become the Digimon in, this play fight.
Yeah.
And I think that's really funny that they're such crap tamers, they became Digimon by accident.
Yeah, and Kazu wonders why they're fighting, and Kenta said, well, it makes them happy, doesn't it? So I think that's really sweet.
And obviously Renamon and Ruki wait, where are they? And they come back.
And they hear them fighting, and they said, what are those idiots doing?
And they're having their final bit in the grandparents' card slash, including Digimon breath or Babamon's milk.
Yeah, but the dub keeps the animation of her touching her breasts.
That's fine. It's just a dress, probably.
But no, they're very shaped. You can see their shape. But she doesn't call it her milk attack.
Milk attack.
But
Ew.
yeah, Digimon uses his breath.
And they get them to leave. And I really thought this was the time when the grandparents would turn, but they just wanted them to hang out more.
Yeah.
They were like, no, come back!
And the only time that they get angry is when Renamon and Ruki interfere with their fun, and they say, how dare you interfere with our fun? And then they attack Renamon, and then she kicks them down some stairs.
They kind of jump at her, but they don't really attack. They've got the sticks, and the sticks are for play fighting.
Yeah.
We know that. The implication, I think, is that if they wanted to really fight, Renamon would instantly die.
Yeah.
But they don't. So whatever.
Because I don't think, as I said, I don't think they feel like they need to.
Yeah. And then somehow Renamon rigged up a kite out of one of the cloths, which they said earlier had a practical purpose, and they took without asking. So that's cool.
Because it has a practical purpose of warning them when the wind is coming.
And so they fly off. Digimon and Babamon jump after one of the tassels, which I'm not really sure why they're on the kite anyway, but whatever. And then they hold on for a second, the wind blows them off, and then they go home.
It was already connected to the cloth.
Yeah.
And the really cute part is they're calling out how they don't want Kazu and Kenta to leave. And in the dub, they're saying, oh no, I want you to do some washing and cleaning up for me. They don't really want the companionship, they want the help, which is kind of weird.
That sucks.
And then when they fall off the end of the kite, they say goodbye, Digimon and Barbamon, and Digimon and Barbamon say bye when they're falling. It's kind of sweet. And then Kazu and Kenta wonder when they're going to become tamers. At the end of the episode, Digimon and Barbamon start singing Manly Fighting Spit.
Or the crap country song about being in the bath.
But it has different lyrics because they're not in the bath.
No, they say in the bath.
Oh, do they? Oh, I
Yeah.
missed that. Then Calamon floats past in the wind.
Woo!
And then we have, of course, Davis finishes the episode like, wow, how about that? I wonder if they'll find the others. That's it, but they don't crash first. I'm like, oh my god, Davis.
Please die.
What do you think of this episode as someone who's new to Digimon?
This episode was really interesting because, like, obviously it's a huge parody of all the other episodes. Because you see there, like, okay, when does the evil thing happen? When are they going to fight? And they just never do. And it's just really hanging out. So, I mean, on one hand, I think that's interesting and entertaining in comparison to the rest. But if you actually saw this as your first episode, for example, nothing happens.
There's no evolutions.
Yeah, I also have that written down, but there's just nothing happens in this episode at all. What happens is they get knocked off course, and then they continue on their way, having overcome nothing, having learned nothing.
But it's nice filler, and I think we've addressed that in the past, like, is good filler still good? I'm like, yeah, it was entertaining, it did its job as a show.
I think watching it a second time was annoying because I'm like, I get the joke. I didn't need to see it a second time. But once was good. I honestly do think it was good filler once. Because...
Which is what, the only time, but you'd be watching it normally once. You wouldn't be watching it twice normally.
yeah, it played on your expectations, and I think it did a good job of that.
Yeah.
Because even me, I'm just like, oh, okay, they're gonna turn... Oh, they're just nice. No, now... they're just nice. All right.
For some reason, I remember this episode as being boring and not liking it. So
Because nothing happens.
Yeah, when I came to watching, I was kind of like, oh, I don't want to watch this. But then I actually enjoyed this episode more than I thought. What would you rate this episode?
You do have to rate it on its merits, so it's a 7.
I gave it a 7.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah. And
It's not
yeah,
spectacular, but it's clever.
yeah, I enjoyed it. It entertained me. I didn't find most of my time looking at how many minutes are left on the episode. And yeah, I liked it. And again, yeah, it wasn't. Sometimes having to watch these episodes twice does ruin it because like watching it so soon, I was like, oh, I get it. I get the joke. But no, I really do like how they played on the whole, oh, they're good Digimon, and then they attack them. How did it compare to what you thought in Obnoxious Synopsis?
So I said that they'd gone on a little wacky, bizarre adventure. I didn't think that Ruki would be hanging out with them, but she did, so whatever. They meet Digimon in some kind of shack. That's true. 100%. And they seem nice until they try to murder them. But that was the thing that the show was playing off.
Yeah.
But so that didn't actually happen. Renamon does save them, though. She does. I was right about
And
that.
she tries to. When she thinks they're going to attack, she still jumps in front of them.
So, like, the ending of the episode was very much what I thought it would be, which is the two kids getting basically into trouble, and then Ruki showing up later.
Yeah.
And be like, what's happening? Oh, I'm going to save you now. I said that it would annoy me if the English version of the grandparents' voice was bad, but they did a good job.
Yeah, I think they were fine. I believe they were Jewish stereotype voices, but it wasn't, like, done in an offensive way. I mean, like, I'm not Jewish. Did you think it was offensive?
No, it was totally fine.
Yeah.
It was an oika filter fish. What's happening with these little kids?
It was just very loving Jewish grandparents feel.
A little bit. Also, I noticed that I rated it actually 7.2.
Yeah.
I think there's no stronger and more accurate rating than that.
So you give it a 7.2
I give it a
actually?
7.2.
Oh, okay, you gave it 0.2 more than me. I'll give it a 7.2 actually. Actually, no, I'll give it a 7.3.
7.25.
Yeah, 7.25. And yeah, you thought it was going to be a good episode. So.
I was right.
I really should add, like, another bullet point, which is, do you think it'll be filler?
That's
sometimes
probably
I feel
right.
like, yeah. Because sometimes you can have an episode that you think is going to be filler by the title, and it's not filler, and then, like, you get some that's like, oh yeah, this is going to be plot, but it's not. Like, the next episode is, like, not, it's, like, sort of filler.
The next episode is, like, as filler as you can get until, like, oh no, a big thing happened at the
So that's,
end.
like, I would call that half filler, because something does happen,
Yeah.
but it's in the background of, like, filler.
So, the next episode, it's, like, also nothing happens.
But besides the plot point, what was the major difference that you noticed?
I guess...
Because I'm just going to say Ruki's attitude.
Yeah, that is probably
How,
the
like,
biggest one.
she's like, well, I'm going to go home, instead of, well, I'm going to find Takato and then we're going to find Calamon.
Yeah, the big one is the like, oh, Calamon can just handle himself, he'll be fine.
Like,
Because
no, he's with a monkey.
I feel like...
In their knowledge.
I feel like the writers just forgot. They're like, they're translating this, and they're like, that's probably not a big deal, right? It's a really big deal. It's why they're there.
Yeah.
Because in the context of this episode, especially if you were a writer that was like a translator who wasn't there all the time.
Yeah, you might be doing this episode without context. You might be like,
You
they're fine.
there he is. Oh, well, they're looking for him. Oh, why are they doing that? Oh, he went to the digital world. Oh, well, he'll be okay. He's just there. He's fine.
Or maybe you missed the last few episodes and you suddenly, like, you didn't see the one where he gets free. But now you just assume that they know that he gets free.
No,
he's,
you
running
started
around.
once you were in the digital world and you saw him get free by his own.
Yeah.
They probably knew about that.
Episode 27, Motorcycle Madness, or Itmon Evolves, The Shudder of Beelzemon, the Dark Lord. Starts with, the kite flying off in the distance, and in the dub, of course, Ruki, Kazu, and Kenta are talking, and Kenta says he feels like he's going to be sick again. And Ruki's like, oh no, not again! And because we can't just have dramatic music. And the original has quite a nice atmosphere of this dramatic music of them falling off, like flying off. And then we have like a zoom out, and we see where Takato is.
It's because Vomit's really funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, we go back to the main sort of group, and they run into this like Mad Max looking scrap huts.
Yeah.
In a little town. And also sort of like these identical looking houses, so it's very similar to what the other guys found, except it has like stuff jammed into the walls.
But all the villages we've seen in Digimon, like in all the seasons, if they're villages, the houses do look the same.
No, the one with the Pagumon has like a bigger building in the center.
Yeah. Well, this one did too.
No,
the one with the old one
Yeah,
lives.
I'm pretty sure they were all the same.
No, the old guy had a bigger house.
And so they get attacked by a motorbike. He goes,
Oh no,
and starts driving
but
at
before
them.
that, when they first come across the village, because Juri's tied and Terriamon points it out.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a bit before that where Ducato says, oh, well, maybe we can touch the data stream and we'll go where they went. And Leomon says, no, they don't work like that. You'll just go somewhere else.
We have no idea where
we don't have any idea. You could end up there. You could end up somewhere else. It's not said. It's because of the plot.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And then when Terriamon points out the village, they approach the village, and Juri starts calling out into the town. And Takato says, "Wow, you're really brave just to call out into an abandoned town, or like a town with nothing in it."
This is sort of the first real bit of characterization she gets.
Yeah.
Beyond "I have a puppet."
Yeah.
And maybe I like you. Maybe I'm only your friend. You should go to that love oracle over there.
Yeah.
I don't like you like that, but I support you.
Yeah. In the dub, Ducato comments about how she gets very loud when she's tired, which is almost like, oh yeah, because she's complaining, because she's calling out, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, she's grumpy, not brave.
Yeah, and I feel like, no, I like her that she's brave and she's calling out, and everyone else is kind of like, what are we going to do? And she's like, hey, is anyone there? I don't know. I like it. And then Jen notices tire marks, and they hear a motorcycle, and it's driving itself, and Terriamon wants to fight!
Oh my god, Terriamon wants to fight it so bad.
He's like, I will fight it. He's like Scrappy-Doo, but not bad.
Put him up! Put up your dukes!
And then a brown Frigimon.
Is Scrappy-Doo? You call him Scrappy-Mon, by the way.
Yeah, Scrappy-Mon.
Scrappy-Doo?
Yeah, Scrappy-Mon. If he's a Digimon, he's Scrappy-Mon.
Fine. Yeah, that's Itmon. Itmon is Scrappy-Mon.
Oh, he's not that terrible, though.
He's like, yeah, I'll fight you. I'll fight you any day. Bada boom, or whatever.
I saw a great image, and you know that part in Scooby-Doo where they're walking around and they see a statue of Scrappy-Doo, and Daphne's like, I haven't seen him before, and Fred says, don't worry, he's in the past. I saw that, but it's,
That first movie's really funny.
But Scrappy-Doo is, like, the 02 kids. Like, it has a picture of 02 on their face, and then Freddy is Digimon Adventure Try.
It's okay. They're in the past. They won't bother you ever again.
Yeah.
Actually, when I was a kid, Scrappy-Doo was my favourite.
Yeah, I feel like I liked Scrappy-Doo. My dad kept on saying how annoying he was.
I just thought he was the baby.
He's a puppy.
Baby Scooby, and I love that because
Yeah.
he was cute. And so it totally worked on me. But in the future, I'm like, I watched the movie. I'm like, everyone hates him. Why is that?
Well, parents hated him because they grew up with the original.
Because he's crap.
Yeah. Anyway,
Puppy power.
of course they run in different directions, which is, they decide, you can only chase one of us, let's split up, which is the opposite of what they did with the data stream.
Well, the data stream is like...
Yeah, we'll all go to... Yeah, we'll
the data stream
be
isn't
teleported.
chasing you.
Yeah. Anyway, and then the brown Frigimon, which we later find out to be called Tsuchiduramon, which is
I was
changed to
thinking they were brown.
Chuchiduramon.
I thought they were brown versions of the
Yeah,
Snowbamon.
because they're mud ones.
No, they're mutants.
Yeah,
which made them new Digimon, I guess.
Yeah. And then Leomon saves the baby one, but the motorcycle still goes through the house and kills one.
Yeah, it's really.
And I'm surprised the dub didn't try to edit this part out.
No one ever mentions it ever again.
No one mentions it in the original.
No, but like a Digimon dying isn't something that the dub's going to get rid of.
But the original didn't even mention it, and I'm really surprised by that.
Yeah, no one even talks about it because it's commonplace, I guess.
But no, the kids didn't freak out. The people who are new to this.
Yeah, but they've seen Digimon die.
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh yeah, well you saved the child. Good job, everybody.
But before that, they get surrounded by them, and Terramon comments about how someone needs a new cookie cutter.
Boo!
Then Takato opens up the D-Arc, and the D-Arc tells them that they're Chu Chiduramon instead of Tsu, and Takato comments that they have a tendency to stare, because, again, they're all surrounding them, and they're commenting on the fact that nothing's happening, which is, again, like I think I mentioned this about, like, every episode that we record. But there's that part in Adventure 02 where they're getting surrounded and Daisuke says, why are they just surrounding us? Why haven't they attacked us yet? Because the dub comments on plot convenient stuff or dramatic convenient stuff.
But in this case, they're not evil. So it made sense for them to surround and not attack.
Yeah.
And there's like the elder there who has a walking stick for some reason, because Digimon get old now.
Yeah. And I really like how he's got wrinkles, and he comes up and he approaches them, and then they go inside the house, and he thanks them for saving the life of the little one.
And then he gives them a lot of food. And
which may or may not be mud.
It looks like mud balls. And everyone's like, I don't know about that. And Jerry just eats one immediately and says it's good.
She's so nice.
At which point, Takato says, oh man, she's really brave. And I've just written down, wait a minute. Actually, is she brave or is she really stupid?
I know. I think she's polite and brave. And she's saying, well, we're their guests and they're giving us food. It'd be rude not to eat it.
There's that. Or there's just like, thing, let's go, let's do it. Alright, I'm just gonna yell out to this thing. I'm gonna eat one of those.
No, I don't think Juri's stupid.
I have a dog in my hand!
I don't think she's stupid. I like Juri.
I'm just saying it's an option.
Yeah. And then Itmon's wondering where, like, we see Itmon and he's wondering where he is, and he starts screaming into the fog, and then he sees a Digimon, and it's a big dog!
Yeah, he finds a doggo!
Itmon runs towards it because he's curious. In the dub, he runs towards it, like, I'm gonna fight it! Yeah, I'm gonna fight! Which is not what he wants to do, because he's weakened.
He's so stupid.
Then, when he comes close,
yeah,
he's like...
bada boom, yeah!
Yeah, when he comes close, he's like, oh, it's a statue. It turns out it's not. It's the dog Deva. And he asks Itmon if he wants to become stronger, and that he knows how he can evolve.
It's my favourite Dogmon. Deva Dog.
It's actually called Katuramon.
Deva Dog.
Yeah, Deva Dog. Dogmon.
Blue
it's
dog.
Dogmon.
It's Blue Dog.
It's Blue Dog. It's Deva Dog. I got that joke now.
Oh, good job! Fantastic!
Back to the kids, and there's a lot of switching between... Because they're telling two stories this time, there's a lot of switching between what the characters are doing. So we see Gilmon playing with some Tsuchiduramon, and I love it.
It's really cute. And there's a really funny like moment when he's playing, and it's like... They don't know the motorbike's coming for them too.
Yeah, it's like, but one of the little ones could be next. Like, gee, that's dark.
But it's just like, in a context, it's like, the bike is coming.
And Jen asks if it's okay to help humans because they might get punished by the Deva. And Tsuchi Darumon says, well, what's a Deva?
Yeah, they have no idea.
And then he mentions how the bike just shows up, and every time it does, they know that one of them will not make it. And it's just like, wow.
For a rider.
And then they're just expecting to die. And in the dub, them expecting to die is removed. I mean, like, I kind of like the fact that it's, they're expecting to die and they're just so, like, they've accepted the fact that they're going to die.
Because this is the data graveyard.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
And they're born from data, I guess. And that's what they say anyway.
So Terramon's like, okay, well, I'm going to go kick its ass. And Jen's like, no, you can't do that. No, I'm going to go kick its ass. No, you can't do that.
But
kick its ass.
What I really like is that when they're talking about the motorbike, Leomon in the dub says, what's a motorbike? Because he wouldn't know.
He shouldn't know. That's awesome.
And
I love when Digimon don't know stuff. Those buses are Digimon, and their attacks is throwing out humans.
Then Tsuchi Darumon, which is kind of hard to say, says
they're just
brown
mud,
Frigimon.
They're
mud
mud
Frigimon.
snow bearmon.
Mudmon.
Mud snow bearmon.
A bottom of Mudmon.
The bottom of Mudmon?
Yeah, abominable Mudmon.
Oh, abominable.
Yeah, I just stopped being able to talk.
When did you start?
They said that their village is in a graveyard, which is pretty metal. And then they say they were born from chunks of data. And then
are they all?
In the dub, he mentions the parts of this, how they're born from the chunks of data earlier, when instead of saying that they were expecting to die.
Oh, the pink floaty things.
Yeah.
Weird.
And he says how it's their birthplace, and they can't move when Takado suggests them moving. Then outside, Jen talks to Takado about how strangers shouldn't interfere and they should just leave, and how common sense doesn't apply in the digital world.
It really doesn't. A motorbike is attacking a village made of bears made of mud.
Takado then sees the young abominable Mudmon playing with Gilmon. That's almost as hard to say.
We've looped around a little bit here.
Yeah, and then... No, we haven't. I have it in chronological order.
Right.
In my notes. And how they might get killed by the bike one day. And then Terriermon agrees. I think you might have...
Yeah, I skipped forward.
I think you might skip
I always
forward.
do that.
Yeah. But I try to stick with chronological.
I only write down the stuff in my notes that I care about.
Yeah, I try to write as much as I can, so I don't get, lost in my notes-mon. We then skip to Calamon, who is alone in a forest, and...
Of alphabet soup.
Yeah, basically.
The floor is made of alphabets. It makes no sense.
It reminds me of, a playground with, that soft floor.
Sort of, but with letters.
No, I've seen ones with letters on them before.
Okay.
And he wonders if this is what loneliness is, and...
It's so sad!
I think this is a reference to back... I believe it's in the episode when Takado was trying to find Calamon a partner, and he's saying, "Don't you get lonely?" And Calamon flies up and says, "I don't know what that is."
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And I think it's a direct reference to that.
That would be, yeah.
And Calamon's now saying, is this what loneliness is?
Oh, it's really sad.
And his ears drop, and it's so upsetting. In the dub, he says that he wishes trees could talk, and how he feels yucky, and being alone makes his face feel wet.
Well, that last part's really sad, but the other ones are stupid.
Yeah, and I feel like, I don't know, I like how they're referencing, a line from early in the show, because it shows continuity.
It does. Something that Digimon sometimes struggles with.
Yeah. Back to where Itmon is, the dog Dave is talking to Itmon about how he should, if he serves their god, he will obtain the power and shape that he's wishing for. And then he asks Itmon if he's missing humans. Katuramon in the dub just says that Itmon really does care about humans, and then he gives Itmon a vision, which is him seeing his partners, which he sees Ai and Mako, and he says, "Ai, Mako!"
He's so happy to see them.
Yeah, and he calls Mako Mako-chan and Ai-chan. It's really cute. And instead of him happily saying their names in the dub, he says, "Hey, guess who's back?" And it's just, it's kind of like it's still his character, but in the original I like how it's sort of different. He's happy to see the humans instead of saying, "Hey, guess who's back? I'm great." And then they see him, or they look at him. They appear to see him, and they smile and they run towards him, and they just run through him, and they see that their dad has come home with a puppy,
a very cute dog,
and then they start fighting over the puppy,
exactly the same way. Now, I don't think this is real, but obviously it plays on his fears, and it's the saddest thing. You look at that and you're like, I'm convinced that humans are trash.
Yeah, well, if you give that image and then say,
"Go, looks like it's gonna die." Yeah, and then, I hated them.
And then you say, "You have to kill humans now," and you've just seen humans being terrible.
Yeah, screw them.
Yeah, you just say, "I have to kill humans." And then the dog Davis says that the human world has no place for him, and Digimon should not rely on humans, just other Digimon.
At the end of the series, I want him to go home, and they're like 12 instead of 5, and he's like, "I'm back." They're like, "Oh, we missed you," and they're 10, whatever Taichi was, and they're like, "Oh, we missed you," and he's like, "Oh," and he gets his whole redemption thing.
Yeah,
I want that,
but you do realize that there's not that much of a time skip between him coming, right? Yeah.
But I'm really bothered by the fact that these two humans are actually crap, because I know it's part of the illusion. But that's how Itmon remembers it. So I wouldn't be shocked if they actually did that. And I now feel really bad for this dog that probably doesn't exist.
Yeah. The bike starts attacking again, back at the group with Takado, and Gilmon helps herd away some Sushi Darumon. In the dub...
Sushi Darumon. I just heard it. It's just weird. They're Sushi Darumon.
Sushi Darumon.
Sorry, Sushi Darumon.
Gilmon in the dub comments about how they should look both ways before you cross the street instead of just grunting frantically saying, "Go, go, go!" So, I don't know, they had to add in this quote-unquote funny moment to this dramatic moment. Well done. Terriermon evolves and starts shooting at the bike, but it doesn't do anything because it's a bike. And Leomon...
What do you mean shooting at bikes works?
Yeah. And then...
Just his guns never do anything.
Yeah. And then Leomon's attack, his Fist of the Beast King.
Fist of the Beef King!
Fist of the Beef King!
He's just
Hungry Jacks.
He's a big cow.
Then, it sends it off course towards the Tsuchiduramon. Gilmon jumps on the bike and steers it away, and a Choramon falls off and thanks them for saving him. In the dub, he's called Metal Koromon, and for some reason, the dub calls him a rookie level, even though he's in his baby 1 or fresh form.
He looks real tiny.
And now Gilmon's driving now.
Wow.
We then skip back to Itmon, and Itmon's breaking down and says that he wants power, and the dog Davis says he must praise their god. In the dub, he says that he must give up his soul to the sovereign
That's way worse.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, you need to pray. Oh, that's cool. Give him your soul.
Yeah, once like you have to submit to our God and show respects, and in the dub it's like you have to give up yourself basically.
And there was like, you have to fight. I don't know if he references the other kids specifically, but I don't remember what he says to Immon to trigger his flashbacks to all the times he's hanging out with the kids. Is that at this point?
No, that's later on.
All right,
We'll get to that.
Moving on.
Back to the kids. Choromon says it's a cursed bike that takes control of you until somebody else gets on it. In the dub, he just says it causes you to go bonkers instead of controlling you.
Or the way you wrote it, it causes you to bonkers.
Yeah, because it's shorthand. Because I'm writing and watching the show at the same time.
No, but just it causes you to bonkers.
Jury says it's like the red shoelaces story, the shoe story. And when you put them on and you dance until you die. In the dub, it's similar sort of thing, except you just dance faster and faster and faster.
Also, it's weird because it sort of doesn't really imply it makes you dance. I mean, it does sort of, but it's not really quite as overt.
Yeah. Then Dakado jumps in the way of Gilmon on the bike and yells at him to try to get him to hear him. Then Gilmon fires a fireball at him, and then Jen uses the Brave Shield to save Gilmon.
It's really cool.
Yeah. Dakado then says he'll jump on the bike and replace Gilmon, which is such like this snap
super
dramatic
brave.
reaction because he loves Gilmon, and it shows him that he's such like an honest and sincere person. He'd basically like risk his life to save his Digimon, and that's
You know
how
what
much.
this is?
Yeah.
This is like an O2 way they would have like triggered your crest of courage.
Yeah, but there's no crests in this. He's just
Yeah.
doing it. He's not doing it for anything. He's just doing it.
This feels like one of the weird situations that would have been for one of those. Though.
Yeah. Back to Itmon. Itmon says that he wants to evolve, and the dog Davis says that Digimon lack the power to evolve on their own. In the dub, he says it's straight up the humans' fault that they can't.
That makes no sense, but I guess he's a religious fanatic, so it doesn't have to make sense.
Then he says to evolve, the god needs to give him a fraction of the god's power, and if he wants to, he has to accept a pact to destroy humans and their Digimon.
Yeah, the implication of that is that the god is a human.
Is it?
We cannot evolve without the god. The god's going to give you some of his power so you can evolve.
I think that, but the gods have more
so
power.
So we can't evolve without humans. The god will give you this so you can evolve. Hence, the god must be a human.
Well, that's a weird way of looking at it. I just think it's
That's how the math works out.
No, I just think it's because the gods have so much power because they're gods. In the dub, Katoramon says it's disrespectful how the humans with Digimon defeated the Deva but didn't load their data.
I thought that's really funny. That he's like offended that it's wasted.
No, but I like that. It's saying you've wasted these Deva lives. You could have used their data, but you didn't.
What I like about it is that it shows there is like a massive cultural difference between Digimon and people. They just don't get it.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure Renamon or any Digimon actually ever had problems with loading data. It's always been the kids.
Yeah.
Has Renamon ever said that's barbaric? I'm not doing that.
But she stopped now. But she says she stopped because she doesn't need it. She just has because she has Ruki for her power now.
Yeah, but that's not saying she doesn't want to or that she's bothered by it.
When was the last time we actually saw a Digimon load data?
I know when
they
Gilmon
stopped.
evolved for the first time, he did by
Yeah, but
accident.
I feel like they
And there was
stopped.
another time after that when Gilmon just did it.
It's always when they're out of control.
Yeah.
Because I think it's because they see it. This upsets my human. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, but it doesn't bother them. I think it's a, you know what, it's a very minor example, but I think it's like taking your shoes off inside in like Japan or whatever, where for the kids it's like, oh, you can't do that, or I'm trying to think what the example is here, but so whereas the Digimon like, oh, you walk around inside,
it's a
that's just
cultural
normal,
thing,
that's fine, so
yeah.
it's totally fine to walk around inside. Oh no, they don't like it, okay, I'll take my shoes off, that's okay.
Then Itmon remembers Gilmon giving him bread and how he tried to get Terriermon to fight him and how Renamon was talking to him when he was talking, like, potentially said that he had a partner. In the dub, the flashbacks are fully voiced instead of just scenes with dramatic music and no voice.
But it's weird because his flashbacks make him look like he was their best friend,
Yeah.
and he's like having all these emotional times with them. He was being such a pest!
But I know, but I think he was being a tsundere. He actually did enjoy the time he spent with them, even though it was, stealing their bread or trying to get them to fight.
That's my favourite one, was the bread, was he was just being a huge asshole the entire time. But he's like, oh, but he was so nice!
And then Itmon is really hesitant. He says, but I'll do anything to become stronger. And in the dub, he just seems less hesitant, and it seems more of a snap reaction
And
to
when he
fine.
says that, the dog's like, and thus your god is pleased.
Yeah, please, your god. And then Itmon's dropped into a lava pit with the phoenix.
With the phoenix?
The phoenix, we see that's the silhouette of the phoenix.
I didn't notice.
Which is one of the gods.
I didn't notice it.
It's the same phoenix as when Makuramon with Calamon came up into the sky. and the Phoenix silhouette was there. It's the same silhouette.
Right, okay. I just
Yep.
didn't notice it. I was focused on the lava pit and him dying, almost.
No, the Phoenix surrounded him, basically.
Alright, cool.
Back to the kids, Gargamon's asking how the story with the red shoes ended, and Juri says that the girl couldn't remove the shoes and something horrible happened, which means she's not really wants to say what happened.
She's dead.
In the dub, Juri says she can't remember, instead of just not specifying.
It means dead.
Yeah, basically. Then Leomon runs towards the bike with his sword and hits Gilmon on the head with the side of the blade and knocks him out. In the dub, the exact moment of impact was removed. He
I
just
have it
falls on the
written
bike.
down here, by the way. This is halfway through the episode. Itmon's not going to evolve because he's the bike's rider, is he?
No, he evolved before that.
You don't know.
Oh, really? Okay.
You don't know the exact time at which he evolved. So, yeah, that was a little while ago. Sorry,
Yeah.
I just noticed that note.
Oh, yeah. Leomon explains that the curse breaks if the driver is unconscious, since the bike takes over the driver's consciousness. In the dub, Leomon says not to worry because Gilmon has a hard head, and then says the mind needed a wake up call to break the spell.
I mean, that's a bit of a stretch. Because what if it took over the entire body, not the consciousness?
Yeah.
Also, because if he's using her story of these shoes as his example, those could be totally unrelated. I always feel like it's really stupid when somebody in these goes, "I've heard of a story that's like this," and then tells this myth, and everyone's like, "Yeah, let's just use that as the exact rules." I think we talked about that last time with what's it called, Paranormal Activity, where they just Google what do we do with that ghost,
Or, oh my god, pants. Also, I found out I had to Google it for the show notes. It's called The Fourth Kind.
What is?
The alien movie that was like the Paranormal Activity with, oh my god, pants.
Right.
The movie I watched in high school.
Let's never watch that.
No, because we'll have to say, oh my god, pants. It gives me the titters when I always think of it.
The titters.
Then the bike conveniently falls into an open hole with lava that comes out of nowhere, because plot. Jen then says that he thought common sense didn't apply in the digital world, and that Takado's sincere actions saved the village. In the dub, Henry says that Takado didn't listen to him, and he must like Takado because that he doesn't listen to him, which is kind of backhanded compliment sounding. It doesn't sound as genuine. Then the lava pit erupts, and a Digimon is driving the bike, and Leomon wonders if somebody tamed it. And it's Beelzemon, and he drives off into the sunset. And in the dub, he says, "They call me
Did you skip that
Beelzemon."
bit?
What?
When Juri says
Oh
Takado's
yeah,
great.
sorry, yeah, I missed that.
And Gilman's like, "Takato, why are you red like Gilman?"
Yeah, sorry, no, I missed that part where Juri says he's great and he blushes.
It's really funny. So yeah, but Beelzemon just shows up, and I'm thinking that maybe he combined with the bike, the god arranged for the bike to show up, and they come, grab some of that power maybe. Which is so Beelzemon, when it evolves, does not have a bike. It just, the bike happened to be part of it here as a tool.
Yeah.
And I think it's really funny.
He's a baddie.
He's a baddie. He rides up "I'm Beelzemon." So in Japanese, that's fine if he says it to himself.
He's the dark. No, he says, "I'm the Dark Lord," or the Lord of
He
Darkness.
says Beelzemon.
Yeah, and then he says he's the Lord of Darkness.
Okay, but anyway, he could have been saying that to himself. In English, he rides up and goes, "They call me Beelzemon." But he's riding away from them, so he's absolutely saying that to no one.
Well, he's saying it to the audience, so the audience knows.
That's dumb.
Instead of just saying it to himself, it's "Yeah, I'm Beelzemon now. I'm the Dark Lord. I'm a baddie. I'm cool. Look how edgy I am. Hashtag Edgelord swag."
You mean if you just put Reaper on that bike, it would have been exactly the same character? I'm actually really looking forward to them scanning him with the Digimon Analyzer and going "That's Beelzemon. He evolves out of Imon." What? And having a moment. I don't think they're ever going to do that, but I want them to.
What do you think of this episode as someone who's new to Digimon?
Okay, so the primary thing about this bike was really dumb and ironically, it was just spinning its wheels. But the Impmon thing was cute. I mean, he had a totally decent reason to build up to sort of end up on that side, but in a tenuous way that he might turn later.
Yeah.
And it was fine. It was okay.
How would you rate this episode?
It's a 6, maybe. Yeah, it's probably a 6.
I think I gave it a 7, but
That's
maybe
generous.
I gave it a 6. I don't know. I gave it a 7. No, that was the last one. I gave it a 7. I should have given it a 6.
Yeah, that's a 6.
I remember this episode scaring me as a kid for some reason.
I mean, it's haunted, but it's not really
I know,
that
Gilmon's
scary.
face when he's on the bike's pretty scary because it's
Rah.
so different from Gilmon usually. And how did it compare to what you thought in Obnoxious Synopsis?
So, there was nothing. I really made almost no predictions. I said that Imon evolves and he has a motorcycle. And that was totally correct. And he did not evolve due to Digivice use, which I think was a notion you tried to at me when we were doing it.
Yeah, because we've mainly seen evolutions happen because Digivice use.
And then you asked if it would be a good episode, and I said yes, which was not true. So oops.
It was okay.
No, it wasn't a good episode.
I didn't want to watch it twice.
No, not at all. Okay, look, it can be okay and have been constructive without being good.
Yeah, I feel like my rating was wrong. It's a 6.
It's 6. It's a low 6. It's a neutral.
So
6.
basically, we agree on our ratings, which we haven't done
do.
for a while. Like either you've been higher than me, or I've been higher than you, or you know.
Well, you're just finally learning. Like,
Yeah, I'm
to
grading
go
it.
along with who's right.
Yeah, and I'm also grading it after the first one now.
Yeah, that's what you
'Cause
should.
my-
You're always like, oh, the English one sucked. Rate low.
Or the fact that I had to watch it twice, and sometimes I'm like, I don't really want to watch this episode twice. Like, the episode's fine once, but then it's not as good twice. What was the biggest difference that you noticed?
Like nothing. I don't know. Nothing changed. I guess Imon seemed to like collapse into hopelessness way harder.
The mistake of Metal Coromon being a rookie Digimon?
I wouldn't have not noticed that.
That annoyed me. Itmon being a lot less hesitant in the dub
I guess.
to kill the humans.
It's not a big deal though.
I don't know. There weren't that many changes.
Yeah, there's like nothing. There's nothing to change. They're fighting a motorbike. Look, it's a motorbike.
Yeah, most of this was basically run away from the thing. And I'm not sure if I have any overall episode discussion. Maybe let's just talk about Beelzemon and what we think is going to happen with Beelzemon.
He sure is there, but he has no intention of fighting them because he could have and didn't. They're split up too. Renemon's not there. This would be a good time to fight them. But he's not gonna. That's funny. I can see what you've done there.
What?
With the Digimon design of Blackwall Kazumon. I'm not going to rate that.
Yeah, I know. I won't talk about those.
That was funny, but no.
What about screenshot of the week?
Mine is when Guilmon is being piled on by the baby Sushimon, and they're talking about how they're all going to get killed by a bike, and I thought it was really funny.
Mine is, I can't decide which one, but Terrimon's face when he can't fight the
When he
bike.
stretches it down.
Yeah, and he's so angry. That's such a good face.
He's so mad.
He's just like, you can't fight the bike, and Terrimon's like, but I wanna. Terrimon, yes. There were a few Digimon introduced in this episode. So we have, and I'm not going to say Blackwall Kazumon and Mega Mighty Kentamon.
He doesn't know what Blackwall Greymon is.
No, he wouldn't the cards.
Fine.
What about Barbamon?
Barbamon was cool. They had the Wizardmon she had the broom, I guess. I don't know really. There wasn't a lot going on there, but she just had like a decent old person design. They feel like really solid Adventure 1 Digimon.
Digimon?
Digimon is weird because, like, if he wasn't weirdly shaped, he'd be a human.
Yeah. Chuchi Darumon, which is the Mud Frigimon.
Well, Frigimon's awesome, and this is a boring version of that. So it's a less awesome version of that.
Yeah. Metal Coromon.
I know, it's a mouse. What do you want from me? It's a bomb shoe.
Basically,
from
yeah.
Legend of Zelda, except it's not yellow, it's metal.
Yeah.
It's really weird. Like, I think the only reason it even showed up was that we need something small enough to make it look like there's nothing riding this
Yeah,
bike.
basically. And they wanted to introduce a new baby form. This wasn't just, the baby forms that we've seen previously.
Yeah.
What about Katoramon?
I thought it looked like crap, actually. It's a
It looks like Shisamon.
It's a big bulldog, but Shisamon looks totally different.
It's got the same sort of, like, I don't know.
It's not even the same shape.
It reminds me of it.
Because it's a dog.
I'm pretty
That's
sure
the only similarity.
I thought that they could evolve into each other.
It doesn't matter. It looked really bad.
What about Beelzemon?
I think Beelzemon looks cool, but in a, like, it's Reaper kind of way. It is literally Reaper. He has 2 shotguns.
Yeah, he's Reaper. For Postmon Pat this week, we have an iTunes review from Eugenia Says from USA and was from September 14th. And the title is Digi Here. This podcast is absolutely Digi-lightful. And I like that. Thank you.
Is this DJ Peapodmon?
No, it's Eugene Says. Oh, I guess DJ.
Eugenius.
Digi Here. Yeah, what did I say?
You said Eugene says.
Yeah, Eugenia Says, yeah. And they say, if you're a Digimon fan looking for discussions of your beloved franchise with entertaining dialogue, look no further. This podcast brings together the hilarious chemistry of a die-hard Digimon fan in May and a salty tag-along that's trying to reconcile rationality with nonsensical nostalgia. As someone who grew up with the Digimon and now looks back with fond feelings of love and silliness for the franchise, I really appreciate what the podcast brings to the fandom, and I would recommend anyone who enjoyed or enjoys the Digimon anime to give it a listen. So thank you. We really like getting reviews, and, you know, it bumps us up in iTunes. People will see us more, and, you know, we really like when the idea of people listening to us, because it's just, sometimes it's hard, like, it's easy to forget when we're sitting in this room, it's just the two of us and we're recording, that people will be listening to this. They will be having us in their ear holes. And, like, if you were listening to this, you're having us in your ear holes, and thank you.
Stuff like this makes me slightly less salty.
Yeah.
Not enough.
Yeah, not enough.
But some.
Well, you've gradually gotten less salty.
Well, because Tamers is better.
Yeah, Tamers is better.
O2 was the worst thing I've had to watch in years.
Like, I was looking at the icons, because the logos of each episode, because I was setting up
yes.
the ones from putting up.
I believe
and
you.
I was just like, and I saw Demi Veemon holding the detail. I'm like, oh, I like 02, and then I realized, oh.
No, you don't.
No, I was.
No, you really don't like 02.
No, I like it, but, like, I don't know.
It's really
it has problems.
bad.
I like it, but it might be nostalgia. And that's the problem. On Reddit, we have a few comments from Lost It, from Dak and Jackster, and my apologies. I hadn't been paying as much attention to our comments on Reddit as I should have been, so I've missed a few episodes. So from Dak and Jackster says on episodes 20 to 23, and they think I'm right when they say that Jerry is just acting how she thinks a tamer should react when she's talking about how I said Ruki is talking like Jerry is talking like Ruki, and she's saying I don't think that's how a partner Digimon should act. Like
maybe
Calamon.
Fine. I really don't remember.
Yeah. And they say, even if she's not emulating Rika directly, it seems like a normal thing for a kid to copy behaviour and not getting it quite right. And then later, she's just swooning over the hunky Absmon. At any rate, I think it's out of character.
Well, to be fair, she's not very tall. She's really just staring right into the abs.
Then Dak and Jackster says regarding Adventurous Battle that they got the sense that in the dub, both Omnimon and Mephistomon were fighting transdimensionally. So it was the Apoclymon from Adventure, but it could have just been any Omnimon, even Adventure with a little headcanon. Then Dak and Jackster says about our last episode, episode 69, that the Tamer's rendition of the digital world's pretty cool, but they do prefer the more surreal fantasy land fused with electrical devices vibe of Adventure. And
that's exactly what we currently have.
No, but it's not like, it's stuff like, especially in the Digimon World games, which they also say that they like, it has like auxiliary cables popping out of the ground, and like the RGB cables just like sitting there. I really like the aesthetic of that world. And it's just more like a desert.
It makes no sense, but sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure this is all that Tamers is going to be, though, of the digital world. We know there's like grass in it because it's in the game that Jen was playing.
Yeah. And then they say that they that was one of the things that disappointed them about Cyber Sleuth. How it was all very same environment of the blue.
Which is blue. Oh, it's terrible.
And then they say that their understanding is that Next Order's better in that department. And then they ask us what were some of our favourite locations in Digimon Adventure. I really liked where the tram is with that lake.
Yeah, the only good bit in the... God.
I know, Shogun Geckomon's castle.
Yeah.
The random theme park.
Hold on, I'm trying to think of like one place that like immediately ends and goes on to like somewhere else. Because that's what I like. One is just like really, really
the Pugmon village,
contrasts.
when they just go through the mountain and it's just another area.
I'm struggling to remember. You know what? No, it's the one of my favorites is the Egyptian bit that's randomly there.
With the upside down pyramid.
Yeah. I really like that because that was really stupid, and I like the sort of like ancient Egypt stuff with like it's got computers in it though. Very Sonic Adventure 2. We got an email from SP who says what they really like is that the show remembered that Leomon and Renamon lived in the digital world and know a lot of things and its mechanics and actually advise the kids. And since they're adult figures, they seem more legit than the Season 1 Digimon, who were basically children. And I agree, the Season 1 Digimon were really not very good guides. You'd think that at least one of them would be like, that tail's there, don't sit on that or light fires on it. SP goes on to say that they think now it's the opportunity to see Takato rise into a proper leader role, since they're out in the digital world, but we'll have to see. And yeah, Takato seems like not very leadership material, but then Jen is too soft and Ruki is not a team player. And
she's not entirely empathetic.
And also the team is primarily made up of Takato's friends, so it'd be natural for sort of him to do that.
Yep.
And arguably he should have had experience now leading because he has a Digimon who is a baby and he has to make the decisions. And I think that you could sort of draw lines between all of that stuff into him becoming a leader rather than Tai being like, you're the leader now, good luck! We got an email from Chakmon who says that they have a question, and that is, what brought on watching the Digimon Grand Prix short?
So the answer to that is...
It existed.
I remembered it, and I wanted us to talk about something, and...
That's it.
No, because I was like, well, we can just talk about our trip to Japan, but that's, like, kind of self-indulgent, people might not care, and I want to actually...
I sure didn't.
I want to actually talk about something Digimon-related, and actually review something. So I thought of one of the shorts, and because the other short has characters that we haven't seen yet, I decided the adventure characters. Because we know about them.
Chakmon goes on to say that they like the layout of the digital world in Tamers. They're not sure if they would want the real world being further away than it is. The data streams sure are scary. Giagamon is cute. I don't know which one that is.
That was the potato one, the dog.
I don't think it's cute.
I love him.
It's made of rocks, not a potato.
He's a baby.
Kenta and Hirokazu being saved by Renamon is hilarious. And let the awesome adventure begin. And now we've got some Chapter 3 spoilers. So you guys should skip to the next segment, the outro, if you don't want any spoilers. There's a few emails regarding that, which we'll be discussing.
And we don't have any others that don't talk about Chapter 3. So if you haven't watched Chapter 3, which I do recommend that you watch it, because there are some things that will be spoiled to you if they haven't already.
And we're going to turn all the filters off for this.
What do you mean?
We're just going to
we're just going to go nuts.
Spoiler mode.
We're basically going to talk about everything that was in Chapter 3 and everything that was in our...
Well, everything's relevant to the...
Yeah, our episode that we did.
So Chakmon, in another letter, or later in the same one probably...
It's the same one,
says,
I just separated it.
When Yamato mentioned to Tai that with the other Digimon super evolving, they may not need Omegamon, which will be easier on Taichi. It was such a sweet, sort of caring moment. Don't say that about Matt. That's crap. And it really showed that Matt considered Tai sort of his hesitation and feelings.
And I do like that. I do like that he does have the crest of friendship after all.
He's such a crap friend, though. I also love Takeru a lot in that series. It made them really sad when he was holding Patamon in his room. It was a very heart-wrenching scene, and it was. It was
definitely
emotional.
a heart-wrenching scene, yeah.
And what they wished happened was that there was a scene with Koshiro just breaking down about not being able to do anything, and turning to Tai and saying that they don't know. They love Tai and Koshiro's friendship, and Tai is always looking to Koshiro for help. And it would have been amazing if it just didn't happen, and Taichi could have, hugged Koshiro or something, try to make him feel better somehow. They thought it was a missed opportunity to spotlight their friendship.
And I really like their friendship that Tai and Izzy have.
That's true, and you know what? He is kind of having a breakdown about not being able to fix anything, and I think that would have been a good moment. And they said that their heart felt empty after the reboot, since they didn't think it would happen.
And I was on like, oh no, they'll get it just in time because it's a movie. And
because they set up the we'll just get in the backup thing.
It was so easy. I'm like, oh yeah, now he's evolved, and they're going to go into the backup thing, and it doesn't happen.
And because it's a big hero moment, you're like, oh, they're doing it, and you wait.
And they're all hugging, and they're hugging together, and he's carrying them, and they're going to do it, and
you're like, there's 3 seconds left, and he's not even in the world yet.
And I'm like, okay, there's going to be like a thing, and it stops on 1 second, because, to be fair, they did say the time would stop when the reboot would happen.
0.005.
Yeah, it was going to be like one of those moments when the bomb's counting down, all of a sudden, you think it's going to explode, and like, no, it stops, something in time happens.
I'm
it didn't.
much happier that they just went like, nope, they missed it.
Of course, but I didn't like it because I didn't like feeling sad. But I liked it when I'm thinking about, like, no, that's what it was meant to make me feel like. And, yeah, no, I like that.
We got an email from Crowgy? I don't know. Crowgy. Let's go with that. Like my, like my parents pronounced, Marunouchi as Marinouchi?
Yeah.
It's gonna go to Marinouchi.
And Shibuya.
They want to add to the theory from the Chapter 3 episode, when they want to say that Maki was fighting the infection before and infected Agumon from the prequel. Remember, his eyes were white, and she was sent the task to clear it up. However, the infected had help from a young Tai and Hikari, who didn't know the whole story from Agumon. Does that imply that Maki's partner was Parrotmon?
Maybe.
In failing to defeat I would mark out if Parrotmon came back 20 years later.
Well, Paramount might be good. Paramount did have holy rings.
That's hilarious. In failing to defeat the infection, the digital world was rebooted, making Maki and her companion no longer a team, which explains her bitterness. And they like the idea that looking back, Paramon was the protagonist, and the viewers just had the wrong perspective. That'd be so good.
Yeah, no, I really like that.
I have no trust that they do that. And Paramon does have holy rings, like you mentioned. He could turn into Suzakumon, or whatever the Red Phoenix Mon was called.
I think it's got I feel like it's Juhakumon in the original, but I can't remember.
And finally, from You Jedi, on With the Will, they said that they're currently wrapping up the adventure episodes for LostinTranslationmon, and in the episode where homeostasis drops an info dump and Kari first becomes Jesus, I make the comment about how Piedmon's implanting of a dark spore in Genai's back was a totally wasted move because the action would only be justified if it was so sinister that it trumps just killing Genai and preventing the Digidestined from existing altogether. With the end of Confession, they don't think it's a stretch to assume that the sinister plot set in motion by Piedmon has begun to unfold, and Genai is now acting under the corrupting influence of the dark spore. He did switch out his Jedi robes for some Sith robes.
Yeah.
Which I think is cool, and that's sort of where we're going with it. That was the thought and the theory, but at the same time,
Also, we don't know which Jedi it is.
We don't, because there's a million of them.
It could be Eucalyptus. It could be...
That introduction makes that actually, you're right. That makes the Digimon World Tour even worse because that ruins this reveal. It's not. Oh, that's Genai. It's which Genai is that?
Can we just assume
is that
it's
the
that
evil
Genai?
one?
Can they just assume it's Genai?
Yeah. I think it would be the best if it turned out that it's a big reference back to that moment. But I have so little faith. I can't.
I have faith now because of this movie. I now have faith.
The only thing that could turn me is if they actually cut back to that and they play like the scene. Mm-hmm. But I do not believe it will happen because it would require the current writers to have watched Adventure again the entire way through, and then when they see that scene, look at it and be like, wait, what was that? What was the original point of that?
Yeah, I want them to say this because of that, and it's like this idea that they've had the whole time. Because
it would have been like, we knew Genai was going to go evil, but there was no time in number 2 for it to happen. So then we were like, oh, I guess we're throwing that out. Because you have to imagine the way it was written. There was no way they knew Season 2 was coming, right?
Yep.
So they wrote it into Season 1 and then just did nothing with it. Then Season 2 happens and they did nothing with it.
Unless they planned it really well.
No,
right?
I don't... This isn't like...
They might not have known how popular it was. They might not have wanted to have a second season.
There is not a chance that in 1998, or whatever it was... When did Season 1 come out?
1999.
Yeah, in 1999, you can't be like, oh yeah, cool, in 20 years we'll have a show that pays this off.
Yeah.
I think it's the coolest thing ever when you set up something and, like, long-term book it forever. But I do not believe in a TV show setting you can even risk doing that. Try might not have ever happened. That would have just been nothing. How did they get their crests back?
Well, they have them now, apparently.
Yeah, how?
I kind of want them to say it, even if they just spend 5 seconds saying, oh, by BT dubs, when Oikawa did the thing, we got our crest back.
Just say it. Mention Oikawa once. He's a hero.
Basically, sort of. He did kind of let Vandermon possess him.
Yeah, but that wasn't like, that's not a terrible action that really he took.
No one ever talks about that kind of like, Digimon have that power apparently?
Yeah, they can not only become ghosts if they want to, which in Tamers would change everything, also can possess you.
Sorry, I'm just remembering the line in the dub, which is like, when Angemon's fading and says, don't worry, TK, I'll come back if you want me to.
It's like, and then like he fades, and as he fades, he's still there, and the fade just moves up, and at the end he's like, I'm a ghost now.
Yeah. Alright everyone, join us next week for Danganronpa 3, The End of Hope's Peak High School. I'm going to read the Japanese ones, so look away from the screen, because it's a big reveal. Enemy or ally, the legendary tamer, Ryo Akiyama!
Or, blame it on Ryo.
Or, here is the Ghost Castle, the great escape of stray Calamon.
Or, Goliath. Okay, Ryo's just there, I guess.
Well, I did tell you that he changed universes, right?
This is so stupid. He's from the game. How are they going to possibly communicate what's happened to him?
He's Ken's friend. He was friends with Ken.
That's so stupid.
The ghost of 02 Past continues.
He was there. I want him to walk up and be like, have you seen my friend Ken? I've been looking for him.
No, he knows where he is. He knows he's in the other universe because at the end of the last...
He's actually a planeswalker.
Yeah, at the end of the last game, and maybe you don't remember this, but
I don't.
He was given, like, the world gave him the choice. Okay, do you want to come back to this world or do you want to go to a new world? And he said, I want to go to the new world.
That's a stupid choice.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that happened. For Weekly Wonders this week, I'm going to recommend Wanikani, which is a Japanese learning app. And it's free, surprisingly. And I'm not sure if it's available on Android, but it is web-based and it is on iPhone. And I would recommend it if you want to learn Japanese, especially kanji, and what each kanji means and like the different meanings and the different readings. And it does sort of require you to know some hiragana and potentially katakana, but it could sort of teach you that as well, even if you have like a sort of like tiny understanding. And Jeff from Prodigious told me about this app because I was asking about apps. I also recommend Midori, which is a dictionary, but that is not free.
Or a drink.
Or a drink. What about your weekly wonder?
I started watching Lucha Underground. It's the best. I love wrestling. I really do. What I forgot was what I want and what I've forgotten, because wrestling doesn't do it anymore. Nowadays, wrestling is very much, look at those dudes who are really good at wrestling, and kayfabe is dead, and you know it's all fake, whatever. But Lucha Underground is like a TV show, and all it is episodes. It runs in seasons.
And they also do things about magic and stuff, don't they?
And basically magic exists. Basically it's Mortal Kombat, but wrestling. For example, when I first saw the title belt, I thought, like, that's a bit lame. It's just kind of like a gold disc with a bit of patterning on it. No, there's 7 pieces of the emblem relic, and you win them, and if you combine them together, you become immortal. And they fight over that, and they're talking about how, like, this guy's descended from dragons, and it's like insane. It is bonkers. It's exactly what I want wrestling to be, where like it's silly and everyone's doing flips and stuff, but also it kind of takes itself just seriously enough that all the things feel like they're really high stakes. It's really good.
No, I like that.
I need you to watch it with me.
Well, we can watch it maybe tonight then, or another night, I don't know. Depends on how tired we are after this.
It's really good.
The link dump will be linked in the description, as always. And you can contact us and stay updated. You can email us at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode or message us on SoundCloud. You can also follow us on @TranslationMon on Twitter and on Vine. And you can find us with Lost in Translationmon on Tumblr, Facebook, and YouTube. We have a discussion thread on With the Will, and we will have a Reddit thread in the Digimon subreddit, which will be also linked in the description. And we'd really appreciate it if you were to review us on iTunes and or Stitcher.
Also, thanks you to our Patreon supporters, TV, who hosts a podcast with another supporter, Sam Krieger, called The Moncast, which talks about Pokemon and Digimon. Wu Qinglong, who you can find at twitch.tv/Wu Qinglong. Metal Mamemon, Joe, Anime Guy, who you can find at Anime Guy Kurosaki and the number 1 on YouTube. Chuckmon, Ishpol Bamba, Hiro Olato, who is at Hiro Olato on Twitter, Jason Morosky, Frost Moragic, who is at Frost Moragic on Twitter, Stephen Reeves, who is at Wildwing64 on Twitter, Kaidawashi, Mac, Noam, Riku, and Red and Garen from Breakfast with Digimon, which is another Digimon podcast.
Which you can also find on iTunes and, I believe, Stitcher as well. You can also make a one-off donation to us on PayPal, which can be found linked in the description. It's www.paypal.me/AIRDRAMON. So that's Edgelord.
I think everyone who listens to the show can spell Edgelord.
I don't know. But yeah, paypal.me/Edgelord. And make sure to comment and give us, like, in the note so we know it's for the podcast. And we'll see you guys next week for Ryo Akiyama, because he's the best.
Okay, sure.
Bye!
Digimon are outside. Outside. Digimon are 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 outside.